Have you ever caught a glimpse of yourself in the mirror and felt shocked by how much gray you see? That moment when you realize the person staring back at you looks older than you feel inside. Maybe it started with just a few silver strands at your temples. You probably thought, oh, it's just stress from work. But then, week after week, month after month, you noticed more. More gray creeping in around your hairline. More silver threads weaving through what used to be your natural, vibrant color. And suddenly, strangers started offering you their seat on the bus. Cashiers began calling you sir or ma'am, with that particular tone reserved for the elderly. Your own grandchildren started asking, "Grandma, why is your hair turning white?" And each time you felt a little piece of your youthful spirit slip away. You've probably stood in the hair dye aisle, staring at those boxes, knowing that once you start that chemical cycle, there's no going back. The roots showing every 3 weeks, the harsh smell, the damage to your scalp, the way your hair feels brittle and lifeless afterward. Maybe you've resigned yourself to thinking, well, this is just genetics. My parents went gray early, so I will too. Or perhaps you've heard that old saying, gray hair is a crown of wisdom. But honestly, you'd rather feel wise and look vibrant. The truth is, you don't have to accept premature graying as inevitable. You don't have to choose between toxic chemicals and looking older than your years. What if I told you that ancient civilizations knew secrets about hair health that we've forgotten? What if the solution isn't in a bottle from the pharmacy, but in techniques that have been passed down through generations of people who kept their natural hair color well into their golden years? Imagine looking in the mirror 6 months from now and seeing your natural color starting to return. Picture running your fingers through hair that's not only regaining its original shade, but feels thicker, stronger, and more alive than it has in years. Imagine your hairdresser asking, "What have you been doing? Your hair looks amazing." Imagine your friends wondering if you've had some kind of work done because you look so much more vibrant and youthful. Today, I'm going to share with you 5 ancient techniques that actually work, backed by modern science, to help reverse gray hair naturally. These aren't expensive treatments or harsh chemicals. They're simple, natural methods that address the root cause of premature graying from the inside out. But before we dive in, if you're serious about reclaiming your natural hair color and looking years younger, hit that subscribe button right now. This is the kind of life-changing content that can transform not just how you look, but how you feel about yourself every single day. So what exactly happens when your hair turns gray? And more importantly, why does it happen to some people in their 20s while others maintain their natural color well into their 70s? Think of your hair follicles as tiny factories. Inside each factory, there are special workers called melanocytes. These are the cells responsible for producing melanin, the pigment that gives your hair its color. When you're young and healthy, these cellular workers are busy and productive, pumping out plenty of melanin to keep your hair vibrant. But here's what most people don't understand. These melanocyte cells don't just die from old age. They're actually being attacked and weakened by something called oxidative stress. Think of it like rust slowly eating away at a car. Free radicals, unstable molecules in your body, are constantly bombarding these precious pigment-producing cells. It's like having microscopic vandals in your hair follicles, spray painting over the natural color factory. Over time, if these vandals aren't stopped, the factory shuts down and your hair comes out colorless, what we call gray or white. But here's the fascinating part that modern science has discovered. Those ancient civilizations understood something we're only now proving in laboratories. They knew that certain foods, herbs, and practices could act like security guards for your hair follicles, fighting off those free radical vandals and even helping damaged melanocyte cells repair themselves. Recent studies from Harvard Medical School have shown that people who consume high levels of antioxidants, the body's natural free radical fighters, can actually slow down and even partially reverse the graying process. Research published in the International Journal of Trichology found that copper deficiency is directly linked to premature graying and that restoring proper copper levels can help melanocytes function properly again. What's even more exciting is research from NYU showing that catalase, an enzyme found in certain foods, can actually break down hydrogen peroxide that builds up in hair follicles, the very substance that bleaches hair from the inside out. The ancient Chinese understood this concept thousands of years ago, calling it nourishing the blood to nourish the hair. Traditional Ayurvedic medicine spoke of ojas, the vital essence that keeps hair lustrous and naturally colored. These weren't just mystical concepts, they were observational science, passed down through generations of healers who watched people maintain youthful hair color using specific natural techniques. The beautiful truth is this: your hair follicles want to produce color. They're designed to keep pumping out melanin for decades longer than most people experience. When we give them the right nutrients, protect them from oxidative damage, and stimulate proper circulation, those little factories can get back to work. But the most inspiring part of all this science? It's never too late to start. Even if you're seeing significant gray, those melanocyte cells are still there, just sleeping. And the story I'm about to share proves exactly that. Let me tell you about Margaret, a 58-year-old librarian from Portland who had given up on her natural auburn hair. By age 52, she was about 70% gray, and she'd been coloring her hair every 3 weeks for 6 years straight. The chemicals were making her scalp itch constantly, and her once thick hair had become thin and brittle. Margaret had always been the type of person who preferred natural solutions, but when it came to her hair, she felt trapped. "I looked in the mirror one morning," she told me, "and I didn't recognize myself. The gray made me look exhausted, even when I felt energetic. But the hair dye was destroying my hair and giving me headaches." The turning point came when Margaret's daughter, a naturopathic doctor, visited for Thanksgiving. She took one look at her mother's irritated scalp and said, "Mom, there has to be a better way." Together, they started researching natural approaches to hair health. And that's when Margaret discovered the ancient techniques I'm sharing with you today. She started small, just one change at a time. First, she began drinking a special tea blend every morning that traditional Chinese medicine has used for centuries to restore hair color. Within the first month, she noticed her scalp irritation completely disappeared. By month 2, her hairdresser commented that her hair seemed thicker. "I thought maybe it was just wishful thinking," Margaret laughs. "But then my husband mentioned that my hair looked different, healthier somehow." The real magic started happening around month 4. Margaret was letting her natural color grow out, expecting to see the typical gray roots. But instead, she noticed something remarkable: new growth that was noticeably darker than the gray she'd been covering up. Not her original deep auburn yet, but definitely not gray. "I started taking pictures because I couldn't believe it myself," she says. "My daughter was amazed. Even my skeptical brother had to admit something was working." 8 months later, Margaret has about 60% of her natural color back. Her hair is the thickest it's been in a decade, and she gets compliments everywhere she goes. People ask if I've had work done, or what kind of expensive treatments I'm using. When I tell them it's just food and ancient herbs, they think I'm joking. But here's what Margaret says is the best part. "I feel like myself again. When I look in the mirror now, I see the vibrant woman I am inside. It wasn't just about vanity. It was about feeling authentic in my own skin." What about you? Have you felt that disconnect between how young you feel inside and how your gray hair makes you look? Or maybe you know someone who's been struggling with premature graying. Share your story in the comments below. I read every single one, and your experience might help someone else who's feeling hopeless about their hair. Now let me share with you the exact ancient techniques that helped Margaret and thousands of others restore their natural hair color. These aren't modern inventions. They're time-tested methods that our ancestors used to maintain vibrant hair throughout their lives. Technique number 1, the Black Sesame Secret. Our first ally comes from traditional Chinese medicine, black sesame seeds. For over 2,000 years, Chinese healers have prescribed black sesame for what they called early whitening of hair. Modern science now shows us why this works so beautifully. Black sesame seeds are absolutely packed with copper, zinc, and iron, 3 minerals that are essential for melanin production. But here's the key. They also contain sesamin, a powerful antioxidant that protects your hair follicles from oxidative damage while you sleep. The traditional way to use black sesame is simple but specific. Toast 1 tablespoon of black sesame seeds in a dry pan until fragrant, then grind them into a powder. Mix this with a teaspoon of raw honey and eat it every morning on an empty stomach. The Chinese say it nourishes the kidney essence that controls hair color. If you can't find black sesame seeds, you can use tahini made from black sesame, or even regular sesame seeds, though black ones are more potent. Margaret started with this simple morning ritual, and it was the foundation of her transformation. Technique number 2, the Ayurvedic curry leaf, miracle. Traditional Indian medicine has long used curry leaves, not curry powder, but actual fresh curry leaves, to prevent and reverse graying. These aromatic leaves are loaded with B vitamins, particularly B6 and B12, which are crucial for melanin synthesis. But here's the ancient secret. You don't eat curry leaves. You make them into a hair oil. Boil a handful of fresh curry leaves in coconut oil until the leaves turn black and crispy. Strain the oil and massage it into your scalp twice a week, leaving it on overnight. This technique works because it delivers nutrients directly to the hair follicles while improving circulation to the scalp. The heat from the oil preparation releases compounds that can actually stimulate dormant melanocyte cells. If you can't find fresh curry leaves, you can order them online or substitute with dried ones, though fresh is more effective. Many Indian grocery stores carry them in the frozen section. Technique number 3, the Catalase Connection. Here's where ancient wisdom meets cutting-edge science. Traditional healers always emphasized eating foods that cool the body and reduce internal heat. We now know they were talking about foods high in catalase, the enzyme that breaks down hydrogen peroxide buildup in hair follicles. The top catalase-rich foods include sweet potatoes, avocados, almonds, spinach, and broccoli. But here's the ancient twist. These foods work best when eaten together in specific combinations. Traditional Mediterranean and Middle Eastern cultures often combine these foods in daily meals. Think of a salad with spinach, avocado, and almonds, or roasted sweet potatoes with broccoli. The key is consistency. Having these foods together triggers a synergistic effect that maximizes catalase production. Aim for at least 3 of these foods in combination every single day. Technique number 4, the sage rinse ritual. European folk medicine has used sage for centuries to darken hair naturally. Sage, contains natural compounds that can actually deposit subtle color while strengthening the hair shaft. Make a strong sage tea by simmering a handful of dried sage leaves in 2 cups of water for 30 minutes. Let it cool completely, then use it as a final rinse after shampooing. Don't rinse it out. Just towel dry and style as usual. This technique works gradually and naturally. After 4 to 6 weeks of regular use, you'll notice your hair has more depth and richness of color. It won't turn your hair dramatically darker overnight, but it will enhance whatever natural pigment your follicles are producing. Technique number 5, the Amla Power. Finally, we have Amla, the Indian gooseberry that Ayurvedic medicine calls the divine fruit. Amla has one of the highest concentrations of vitamin C of any food on Earth, plus unique tannins that can actually help reverse gray hair. You can take amla powder mixed with water every morning or find amla supplements. But the traditional method is to make an Amla hair mask by mixing Amla powder with coconut oil and applying it to the scalp once a week. These 5 techniques work synergistically. They're not competing solutions, but complementary approaches that address different aspects of hair health and color restoration. Here's what I want you to understand. Reversing gray hair naturally isn't about finding one miracle cure. It's about returning to the wisdom of our ancestors, who understood that vibrant hair is a reflection of overall vitality and proper nourishment. The truth is beautifully simple. Your hair follicles are designed to produce color for much longer than most people experience in modern life. When we remove the obstacles, the oxidative stress, the nutrient deficiencies, the poor circulation, and give our follicles what they need to thrive, they respond by doing what they're meant to do. Think about this for a moment. Every ancient culture had their own version of these techniques. The Chinese had their black sesame and special herbal teas. The Indians had curry leaves and amla. The Mediterranean cultures had their sage rinses and antioxidant-rich foods. They weren't all coincidentally wrong. They were observing real results that we can now explain with modern science. Now, I want you to close your eyes and imagine yourself 6 months from now. Picture looking in the mirror and seeing not just your natural color returning, but hair that's healthier, thicker, and more vibrant than it's been in years. Imagine running your fingers through hair that feels strong and alive. Picture your hairdresser's amazement when they ask what you've been doing differently. Envision friends and family commenting on how radiant and youthful you look. But more than the compliments from others, imagine how you'll feel about yourself. That confidence that comes from knowing you look as vibrant as you feel inside. The freedom from harsh chemicals and constant touch-ups. The peace of mind that comes from working with your body's natural processes instead of fighting against them. This isn't about vanity. It's about authenticity. It's about feeling like yourself again. It's about honoring the wisdom of generations who maintained their natural beauty using the gifts that nature provides. You don't need to implement all 5 techniques at once. Start with 1. Maybe the black sesame morning ritual, or adding more Catalase-rich foods to your diet. Consistency trumps perfection every time. Remember, your hair didn't turn gray overnight, and it won't return to its natural color overnight either. But with patience, consistency, and these time-tested techniques, you can begin to see changes within the first few months. The most important thing to remember is this. You have the power to influence your hair's health and color. You're not helpless against genetics or aging. You're not doomed to choose between harsh chemicals and looking older than your years. If this video has given you hope or opened your eyes to natural possibilities you didn't know existed, please hit that like button right now. It helps us reach more people who are looking for natural alternatives to chemical hair treatments, and it tells me that you want to see more content like this. As we wrap up today's journey together, I want you to know something important. Taking care of your hair naturally is an act of self-love. It's choosing to honor your body's wisdom instead of fighting against it. It's deciding that you deserve to feel beautiful and confident in your own skin. Every morning when you look in the mirror, you have a choice. You can accept that gray hair is inevitable, or you can choose to nourish your body with the ancient wisdom that has helped people maintain their natural beauty for thousands of years. These techniques I've shared aren't just about hair. They're about reclaiming your vitality, your confidence, and your authentic self. When Margaret started her journey, she wasn't just trying to change her hair color. She was trying to feel like herself again. And that's exactly what happened. Your hair is not separate from the rest of your health. It's a reflection of how well you're nourishing yourself from the inside out. When you feed your body the nutrients it craves, protect it from oxidative stress, and use gentle, natural methods to enhance its natural processes, everything improves, not just your hair. I want you to make a commitment to yourself right now. Not a perfect commitment, but a loving one. Choose one of these ancient techniques and commit to trying it for the next 30 days. Just one. See how it feels. Notice any changes, however small. Remember, this isn't about achieving perfection or dramatic overnight results. It's about progress, patience, and treating your body with the respect and care it deserves. If you've felt hopeless about your hair, if you've resigned yourself to harsh chemicals or covering up what you consider inevitable aging, I want you to know, it's never too late to start. Your hair follicles are waiting for the right nutrients, the right care, the right environment to start producing color again. You are not too old. It is not too late. Your natural beauty is still there, waiting to be revealed through gentle, consistent care. Every time you choose to nourish your hair naturally, you're choosing hope over resignation. Every time you massage that curry leaf oil into your scalp or enjoy your morning black sesame ritual, you're participating in an ancient tradition of self-care that connects you to generations of wise people who knew how to maintain their vitality naturally. This journey doesn't end here. We're building a community of people who believe in natural healing and ancient wisdom. If you want to support this channel and help us continue sharing these life-changing techniques, click the Super Thanks button below or subscribe if you haven't already. When you support us, you're helping us reach more people who need to know that natural alternatives exist. Your hair has a story to tell, a story of vitality, wisdom, and natural beauty. Let's write that story together, one ancient technique at a time. Remember, you don't need miracles. You need consistency. You don't need perfection. You need to begin. Your natural hair color is worth the effort, and so are you.